All right, we got more Chult for you. So it's Chult Fuchsia Malaise. This is the second book of the Chult trilogy, which is apparently going to be 4 books. I don't know how that math works out. But I like this cover. I think it looks good. I like the color, just like the artist, obviously, and the art. So very good. Venger's decided to put himself, I guess, on the cover. So it's made by the same company as the first Chult book. It looks very good. Once again, with high quality everything. As you can see there, with the dust jacket off, it looks great. I've got a new, better piece of art here with a cool eye and this kind of like monolith with some runes or something like that, some sort of symbols, and it's signed and numbered. So the first thing you'll notice about this book is that the art that was in behind the pages has been pretty much taken away. It's much easier to read. There's not as much symbols and stuff like that in the background. So that's very good. Again, this is a work of parody. And I will say, overall, I believe that Venger has toned down on a lot of his pop culture references. There's still some in there, of course, but they're not so obvious as it was in the first Chult book. We've gotten a new, bigger map here because it's going to have some new locations in this book. And it's also going to show kind of the difference of what's happening in Chult after 18 months from the last book. We've got 1 week distance again, with each one of those being a day, so I like that a lot. Some more cool art. The forward from him. What's this book about? We've got essentials right here. It's going to explain to you what's happening. And it's been 18 months, and someone has won the contract to mine Chult. And what they've done is they've set up Elysium, and they are drugging the native population with a drug called Xanthium 138. And so what it does is it makes you look up into the fuchsia colored sky and just sit there looking at it, mesmerized for hours. And that's what Fuchsia Malaise is. That's where the term comes from. So the Chartreuse Sea is gone. It's now a dry riverbed full of various sunken treasure. Crydomet continues to struggle between its newfound freedom and former demon worm domination. And the priest, the violet and the purple priest, openly clash. So some stuff has changes. Agrabah continues to expand day by day. So we've got some more races here for Chult. There's blue velvet elves. So we needed 1 more of those. So they're very cool. So they get kind of a bonus because they're so cool. They get a swagger bonus. They've got blue, obviously, velvet skin that is hunted for its pelts. And then you've got the Grog, which I really like. They're a sand construct made by ancient wizards. And they can, at will, disassemble themselves into grains of sand and merge back into their humanoid form later. So that's very, very cool. They get kind of an innate damage reduction because of them being made out of sand. And they cannot be possessed by sorcerers or anything like that. They have no souls, so they cannot be possessed by demons or anything like that. Then we have humans and elves. Big surprise. So humans get 2 additional hit points per level. The half-elves get to pick one of the abilities that the elven race has of their chosen color, and then they also get an additional hit point per level. The Vor, of course, I knew exactly what this was, and I was very happy to see it in here. So these are part reptile, part bird, and they have very feathered and scaly skin, and they can fly short distances. They cannot communicate, but they have hand gestures and telepathy. But the main thing they do is they have these leathery, veiny wings that they wrap around their food. That could be someone, a PC or someone, and it pretty much absorbs like an acidic secretions, leaving only bones and disgusting green slime in their wake. So the Vor are from a great 80s movie, Beastmaster, which I, of course, very memorable scene when I first saw Beastmaster. How they absolutely obliterated the people that they grabbed in their kind of leathery wings and reduced them to bones and whatnot. So very cool that the Vor are in there, because it's a little bit of an abstract creature that a lot of people might not know if they haven't seen Beastmaster, but there they are. And of course they are called the Vor in Beastmaster. The Vism are a kind of an interesting way. It says it's cursed by an infernal heritage. So it says they have 7 eyes located in various areas on their head. But their heads are encased in a bronze mask for religious reasons. So that's very interesting. It says, fortunately for the Vism, their eyes are capable of seeing through solid objects as long as they don't have magical properties. So that's very neat. Their skin is unsettling dark red-violet hue covered in small ivory horns. And those horns are highly, highly hunted and traded and very valuable. So unfortunately, because of their mass, they can't travel out in the desert due to heat stroke and exhaustion. But they're very neat, weird. I'd love to see a good picture of them, piece of art or whatever. But very neat. So we got some new races there that are not elves, so that's good. And then the rest of this thing is going to be a lot of tables. And this, of course, you can use for Chalt or for anything else. A lot of them are very useful. They're very easy. Like this is a D6 for reaction roll. Of course, you can give like +1 or -1 or whatever to see instead of a 2D6. That's kind of normal for OSR. So we've got morale, reaction, disguise. Does someone see you? Is someone enamored by you? Here's some more NPCs right here with their class and description, motivations, some alignments, loyalty. This whole section's very good. It's got typical humanoid stat block here for anybody that you want on Chalt. What motivates the adventurers? Is there a social hierarchy? Death is not the end. Maybe when you get negative hit points or something happens to you. Here's some more Chalt names. They are different than the names that are in the first book Chalt. If you're a spacer, what type of background do you come from? Why do you hate off-worlders, maybe? Here's some cool stuff you might be able to find. There's some neat NPCs here with some stuff that they might want. So maybe you've got something and they want to hunt you down. And so this is why they're hunting you down. Pandorum, this is the feelings of paranoia, anxiety, and general PTSD that comes with extended travel in deep space. So you can get a benefit maybe from it, or you get a drawback. Fuchsia Malaise in you. How were you affected by the epidemic of Fuchsia Malaise and the drug scene that's going on? This is kind of how the haze of it, is the effects of it. They wildly differ. So that's cool. You've got rules for dehydration. And then here's something weird. It's a murder hobo regrets. Pretty much, if you characters become murder hobos, you can maybe have to do something so that you don't have these terrible nightmares of being a murder hobo. So very interesting. And then you've got different factions and what their beliefs are, from the Cabal to Watchmakers, communists, fascists, revolutionaries, alienists. Just giving you kind of a breakdown of what, obviously the beliefs of these factions are. Here's a great piece of art here that I really like. Here's a lot of Mpc traits. Now, these are really great. It's D100. And it's just a really great table full of stuff. This person has flashbacks. This person's moody. They're a stand-up comic. They're occultist. They're colorblind. They're antisocial. So just a really great table there. And then how useful is this NPC? Maybe they speak different languages. They're an excellent cook or a skilled starship pilot. Maybe the person always has a pen on them. They're a drug dealer. They can type real fast. So a lot of really neat tables here in this section. And then, of course, we've got that art that we've seen in the first book right there. And, so we got that. And then crazed drug-induced visions. Maybe what hallucination have you experienced? And then what's the aftermath of after having that hallucination? We've got what does a demon offer you? Should you come across one? What is the favor? Should you do it for them? There's some NPC interactions right here. And then this is some just stuff, like diamonds in the rough, stuff that you might find, crystals, magic items, and stuff like that. Continue going here. Here's a pretty good list. It's D100, of course. And so what this is pretty much kind of like DCCs. When you cast a spell, something crazy might happen. So it's based off the level of the spell. So if you cast a first level spell, you have a 1 in 6 chance of one of these strange things going off. Kind of like mercurial effects from DCC. And here we have a whole bunch of them. So it could open up a door to another world. You can enter the Matrix. You can, there's a whole bunch. It can be draining to you. The ground opens up below you. So as you can see, a lot of ones here to make unique spell effects, things that might happen. So City of Agrabah. So I'm happy to see this. It's interesting for me. These books all came out a while ago, and I was happy to see more of the City of Agrabah too, as well. I'd have liked to have seen a map, but it's all well and good. But it's just going to expand on it with a lot of great adventure hooks. That's one thing I would say that this book is the best at, is it's got a lot of adventure hooks in it, probably more so than the first Chalt. It has kind of the Raz, I guess they're called. It's kind of like the privileges of the powerful in Agrabah. Different noble houses and what their drive is, and how they're pitted against each other, which can make for some great role-playing campaigns. There's a guided tour that these people can take you on, and then you're going to explore the city, the marketplace, the palace. So yes, I'm getting what I wanted some of my my issue I had with the first book. It's getting fixed here, which I'm very happy to see. So there's a lot of taverns that are very nasty, and people there try to kill you. There's the spaceport, and then there's unlikely events in Agrabah. A great table of D100 things, which can lead to tons of adventure hooks here for you, and lead you down a bunch of different paths, like that piece of art. So it's D100, so it's really good, and you can see fairly decent size as well, each of the paragraphs. So yeah, I was very happy to see that. It really boosts up Agrabah as a city, and is very helpful. And then we've got encounters, cool piece of art there. So if you're in the wasteland, here's some different encounters you may run across. D12, and then there's going to be little encounters that you may have in traveling at night. This Fuchsia putrescence is a very nasty thing. It's called the thing that oozes from above. It's pretty much a huge 1 mile by 2 mile floating, grabbing monstrosity with tentacles that kind of drop stuff on the ground like goo or slime, and it's a very powerful force that's on Chult. There's a whole thing about a meteorite that shows up. Great piece of art here with this clown worm, which you find out here is extremely nasty. You don't want to mix a sandworm with like Killer Clown from outer space, but here we have it, and they can make you into a clown thrall, which is very detrimental. There is a ton of save versus die in this book, just like all of Chult, so that's not going to go away. There's a cool underground subterranean, pretty much train system, subway system that's going on. And you can meet a bunch of people that are taking this train system to take you to different players, such as the Dome City or the Black Pyramid, Agrabah sewers. So that's very cool. And then who's on the subway? Some other people, gangs and whatnot, street punks, thugs. Here's a whole thing about genetics. This reminds me of Khan, of course, in which the travelers seeded the planets with their DNA in the Tech Age, and you may have some relation with some of these maybe genetically altered, improved humans, or humanoids, I guess I should say. Here's the thing about different sorcerers. So you've got different ones to pick from, very strong ones. Here's a one named Thanos. He's looking for the rainbow gemstones of ultimate power. There's that pop culture thing that we know so well with Chult. But these are all very cool sorcerers here that you can use. And then it's going to go into the scenarios. So the first one is the Fuchsia Flesh Pit. It obviously has a great map here with a couple of other little small rooms that you can get to by different ways within the Flesh Pit. So there's an NPC. She's trying to get a glove that's in there. And there's a lot of stuff in there that will try to kill you, slimes and whatnot, priests, stuff you will know when it comes to Chult. Mutant clams, a lot of flesh stuff, flesh cave, flesh cavern. But it's a very cool scenario and one that I would definitely run. Here's the Tower of Vromkad. And this is an interesting one in which you start off here in the starting area, and there's these orbs, and as you touch an orb, it lights up, and the color that it is, you step through a doorway, and it takes you to the different rooms. So that is pretty neat. Great piece of art here of a mana core. And you're going to have just a whole bunch of stuff go on as you jump from room to room of different colors with NPCs, cultists, and the like, and then ending with a shaman demon. Here's the tomb of, I'm going to say Van Zane. It could be Von Zane, I'm not sure. We have kind of a traditional map here, which again, as you can see, some changes have happened, and we've got the maps up front, so I'm very happy about that. This is a neat place. Everybody thinks there's nothing much to it. It was just an old burial temple of a sorcerer, but it's got a lot of stuff going on in it. There's a little bit of white space in this. It would be cool to have a little bit more art or something, but it just shows you without that kind of art behind it that you kind of miss it a little bit too, just because it shows a little bit more white space. So as you can see, it continues to go. Very lengthy this one is. I love that piece of art there too. Zombified spider priests, very nasty. And again, I just didn't see as much of the pop culture references in this book. And here's one for the players that's got it numbered, so that's very good. Elysium, very big map here, and then at the back it's also numbered of this section. And this is a complete overview of Elysium and the Federation's foothold on Chult as they are pretty much destroying the ecology of Chult. So you've got different species, names, factions, different professions, completely, figured out with tons of plot hooks and stuff going on in it. It might just say like The Office, but there's always someone in there doing something or got some sort of scheme going. And that helps to create, obviously, some great adventures on Chalt. So the whole place is kind of obviously statted out. And honestly, it's more of what I wanted. I'm a big fan of this piece of art. It definitely reminds me of Heavy Metal. So that gives a thumbs up for me. And it's going to continue to go as it completely fills out this Elysium here. And then there's the map. So I'm pleased the maps have gotten better. They're in a better location, and we're getting more statted out stuff. Skaba Pilgrimage, that is like a kind of a open-ended scenario where you leave your town. It's been plagued by blood-sucking locusts, and they ate all the food, and it continue to pretty much weaken everybody. And so you're sent out with some other people in a certain direction. So it says which way to go. So the players get to, say, well, our characters are going this way, east, north, west, maybe towards some of these other places. And as they're traveling, like as if they're traveling toward Crimson Rock, you're going to have certain encounters that happen with scavengers, crash starship, and the like. So it's actually pretty neat because it's a little bit open-ended. This is funny, but I don't know why it's there, but it's fun. And then you're going to come to the locations of each one, such as when you get to Crimson Rock. You're going to go down below. There's a cavern. There's Kali. So, of course, I love Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And so Kali is very cool. It's got a great motif about it. And it just shows you how Chalt can change from, Kali to space to Dune to fantasy stuff. So, you just never know what's going to happen when you're playing anything in Chalt. And that's probably one of the best things about it is it keeps you on your toes. This lady's being chased by this thing, so that's not great. And then you've got this area you're going to go into if you find this subterranean area. You're going to have a couple different ways to branch out. Different things are going to be happening. But down here is actually a city of dark elves, much like Menzoberranzan. And a lot of scheming is going on down there. So again, how it changes, there's the drow right there. It's called Baal-Tan or Baal-Tan. And you're going to have families that are down there, much like Menzoberranzan. And you're going to have some treachery going on and some ambushes as people have various goals with these different families. So, and then we're going to have a new version. It says Crimson Dragon Slayer Revised. It's more. It's been more fleshed out. It's bigger. Races and whatnot. Some more stuff about combat. Cool pieces of those Adobe stock art there. Actual spells now. You don't have to go grab another book like the Player's Handbook. So it's got actual spells, and it's getting there. It's getting better. Chalt Ascended gives you all sorts of different special abilities for your character. It doesn't really say how you get them, or you just have to come up with how, maybe pick 2 for your players or whatever. They get one every other level. Whatever you want to come up with. Obviously, like the OSR, it's very much in your hands. And then there's some past deeds of heroism and cowardice. And then here's Venger. He's doing some sort of figuring out what's going on in the mind of H.P. Lovecraft. So that's what that appears to be there. And then there's old school Renaissance like a fucking boss. So here is a bunch of tips. And these are products that he put out. He put in the back of his books, of his big print books here. And these are some great rules on how to run OSR games. They all seem very good to me and very, very well known should you already be a big time player in the OSR. So, but a lot of them are actually really good and might be good for new players and game masters. So there's that. We got the table. We've got the index at the back, and that is Chalt Fuchsia Malaise. I'm very happy with this book. It's fixed some of the problems I had with first Chalt, so I think them together, this is going to be a really great, union of the 3 books together. Once you have them, really fleshing out Chalt. If you want to pick this up, I'll have the links in the description. The PDF is on Ttrpg, and then you can get the actual physical books from Venger from his website, which I will have in the description. I'll also have it probably pinned so that people can see it real well. So, it's another great book. Great. I think I saw maybe one typo this time, or one issue. It wasn't a typo. It was just something very small, but again, very well proofread, and overall a great addition to Chalt. So it's like we're adding on, we're getting better. The pop culture references are not so much. They're there, but they're not so overt. We're getting more fleshed out, lands and cities. So we're just building on what we have before. Corrections for stuff like, corrections for me when it comes to like the map being at the first part of a section if you've got a scenario or something. But very pleased with this. Check it out if you like Chalt. You can tell Venger's starting to get into his groove, and it's got some great tables in it. So he's always been good on tables, and so it's got a lot of those. But he's definitely going in the right direction. I'm excited to see what the third book is because it's the biggest of the three. So it's going to have a lot of information, I'm certain, in it. And I haven't looked at it yet, so I'm really excited to see what's in there. So there it is, Chalt Fuchsia Malaise. Check it out if you like Chalt. Thanks.